Bethany Hamilton's story as a whole was really hit me about this movie to begin with. I saw her on the Today Show about 2 Christmases ago, a couple of days before Christmas, and she was on there, and she was. I had a dim memory of her story, but she was promoting her book, and there was just something about her. It was so special. She's so normal and so positive and optimistic about, in the face of what had happened to her, and had overcome so much. You know, from she took this horrific tragedy of the shark attack that happened to her that took her arm and turned it into a bump in the road of her life. So I'm sitting there like, what problems do I have in my life? They're meaningless, you know, in the face of this. And it then so happened 5 days later they called me and asked me if I wanted to play her father in the film. And it was the only time in my career that I said yes without even reading the script, because I'd already seen it. I'd already heard the story. I knew it was something I wanted to be a part of.
So at what point did you meet your real life counterpart, the father Tom?
When I got to Hawaii, the entire Hamilton family was on the set every day. Bethany did a lot of the surfing in the film. Her brothers worked on the crew, you know, because they were her videographers, so it was a natural sort of fit for them to work on a film crew. And her father was basically, his job was to play golf with me and surf. and we got to know each other. We bonded really well, and we're both the same kind of people in many ways.
Yeah. And do you see Bethany's spirit kind of reflected in her parents?
Of course. You know, they are a very tight knit family. They're a family that have a very strong faith in God and faith in each other, and they live and walk, talk, and breathe it. You know, before the accident, during, and after. It's really what got them through life, and it's an inspiration.
Mm-hmm. When you prepared the role, when you got the script and you started to do your work on it, did anything alter or change once you did meet with Tom?
Yeah, I think, you know, in little ways. Although, you know, the story was really all there in the script, because they had so much to do with the writing of it, and you know, and just meeting him and finding out, you know, I had him just tell me the story really from, you know, out of his own mouth, and you know, it had a great impact on me, because, you know, you always put yourself in that position of the person, of the storyteller, and really what I wanted to do was capture his spirit and try to tell the story from his point of view, you know, through my character.
Yeah, and there's that delicate balance between absolutely wanting your child to feel that anything is possible and they can accomplish their dreams, but at the same time not wanting to protect them from heartbreak, you know. Really,
and as parents, you know, that's what being a parent is. You know, you want to save your kids from any kind of pain or sorrow in life or danger, and you know, I could really relate with him, because, you know, you can't always do that. None of us can, and it leaves you feeling helpless sometimes when things do happen.
Is there a different kind of criteria you use when you choose roles now than it used to be?
Well, I mean, not really. You know, it's I never really have gone out looking for scripts. They really come to me in a way, and for me, the criteria for choosing a script is about reading the script, because when I read a script, it's the first and only time that I'm going to have a chance to have a first-time experience of that movie, you know, like an audience member has. And so I'm looking to see how it makes me feel, and if it's a really good story. Story is very important to me.
Mm-hmm. And do they usually come out the way you had hoped upon that first reading?
They usually, not all of them do, but usually if it's a really good script, then it's up to the filmmakers and myself, not to screw it up. But sometimes they don't turn out like you would have hoped, but for the most part they do.
And with this one, I mean, it had to have come out the way you had hoped. And I'm wondering about the audience reaction, because I know that you've seen it with audiences. How are they taking it into their hearts and embracing it?
I haven't met one person who doesn't love this movie. I mean, I don't know how you can't. It's one of those movies you need to take a couple of Kleenex to, because you're definitely going to well up. But the tears are really tears of triumph.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful movie. Do you mind if I ask you one question about a previous film that you've done?
Yeah, sure.
Because I happen to be crazy about Al Pacino, and so every chance I get to ask about working with him, I snatch it. And I mean, obviously, I love Any Given Sunday. That's
right.
You all are so incredible in that film. Tell me about that experience.
Well, I think Oliver Stone really captured NFL football, what it's like to be down on that field, the violence of that sport, and the camaraderie of those guys. And Al he's just the greatest, most generous person to be around, and of course, what a legend as an actor to work with.
I know you're pressed for time, but we had a listener question that I just wanted to pose to you. She's crazy about your performance in The Special Relationship, which is phenomenal. And I was curious to know, or she was, when someone is that well known globally, and we've seen kind of endless impersonations of Bill Clinton that fall into caricature, how do you avoid those pitfalls as an actor?
Well, that's why I almost turned down the role. To tell you the truth, it's I've played so many real people, but Bill Clinton, the most famous man in the world, really, arguably, and smartest man I ever met as well. I spent time in the White House with him, and I didn't feel like I didn't know why they chose me to play that role. I really don't particularly look like him all that much, but I felt like, well, here we go, and maybe sometimes it's good to do the thing you're most afraid of, and just took a deep breath and plunged in.